Bella Salon and Day Spa, located at 41 West Main Street in Northeast Pennsylvania, proudly supports Chautauqua Sunrise and its volunteers. More information at bellasalonanddayspa.net. Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Doc Hamels, and welcome to Chautauqua Sunrise. Well, the sun did rise today, and then it's followed by a bunch of clouds, I guess. So, and also, Happy June. Happy June, Justin.
Thank you.
Happy fall. It's all the same lately. It seems like we do one step forward and two steps back with the weather these days. Gosh, it's so unpredictable. I feel terrible about the folks out in the Midwest. They've been getting hammered with lots of rain and tornadoes and stuff like that, flooding. We were just out that way not too long ago, and boy, the Mississippi River, it doesn't take any time at all for that to go over its banks. So I hope everybody's safe, and anybody knows anybody out there that they're safe. It is June 1st, so that's cool. So we're on our way to summer. It's still spring, technically. It actually is warmer. I shouldn't complain. There's no snow on the ground, but gosh, it can't make up its mind. Anyways, I want to say good afternoon to my friends and listeners at WRFA 107.9. A little power to the people in Jamestown. Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Glad you could join us. Today we have a kind of an interesting show, and we're going to tell you more about that here in a little bit. And always remember that if you have a question or comment you want to add to the storyline that we create here for the show today, give us a call, 753-5225. You can Twitter us, tweet us, email us. You can show up at the back door. I don't care. Let us know what's going on in your organization or club. We're happy to share that. And I got pages and pages of great community events that are going on. So if you're looking for something to do here in Chautauqua County, there's always something going on. And we're going to be sharing some of that here in just a minute. Us guys are at the studio in our third year, at least together. We're going to be doing the Ride for Roswell, and let's bring up those happy faces of the three amigos, the Chautauqua Sunrisers. We're going to be wearing our canary yellow team shirts here pretty soon. June 22nd is coming up, and it's still not too late to donate to the Ride for Roswell. You just basically go to roswell.org, I believe it is, and you just look up a ride and rideforroswell.org. Okay, there we go. And I've gone in a couple different ways. It'll say riders or donate, and it'll ask for riders, and you just look up one of our names, and you can drop a couple dollars into our accounts, and we'll be there. I think we're doing pretty well, but we always could use more, and we would appreciate your support. Three of us are going to do the 34-mile ride out in the country, and we were sort of sitting around this morning, and Jeff is our rabbit. He's been really taking off, doing a lot of riding. I'm not sure how he's doing it because it's been raining a lot. But Randy and I, we're getting there. We're getting ready. So I've been doing a few rides. So this probably tomorrow I'll try to squeak one in, maybe a 12-mile ride. We'll see. All right. Anyways, that's Ride for Roswell, and we're going to be doing that June 22nd. On that day, we're going to have a show that's pre-taped. We won't be here. And so that's coming up anyways. All right, let's get to our community announcements because we have quite a few, and then we'll get to our show. All right. Infinity, our friends at Infinity in Jamestown, New York, great organization. Their annual spring showcase is next Saturday. Now, have a listen. Students from the Infinity Visual and Performing Arts Center have been working hard since October to prepare for this year's annual spring showcase. Sponsored by the Schultz Auto Group, the Infinity Spring Showcase will take place, as I mentioned, June 8th at the Jamestown High School Auditorium at 7 p.m. There's a few of the folks. A couple of those people have been on this show. Infinity students have the opportunity to practice and hone their talents through various performances at the Infinity Arts Cafe throughout the community. Spring Showcase serves as the largest student performance of the year. The Spring Showcase is a well-rounded evening of student performers featuring music, ensembles, soloists, as well as dance and theater performances. You'll be amazed at the amount of talent displayed on the stage and the amount of hard work the students put into this event. Let's see. Now this is kind of interesting. I'm going to share with you who they've been working with. The Infinity students have had the pleasure of working with instructor and area musician Steve Davis, who has served as this year's artistic director of the show. Steve has been a piano and drum instructor and ensemble director at the Infinity since 2003, and is also one of the original 7 Infinity students. If you haven't seen Steve perform, he's really a very, very fine musician, and I've had opportunity to be in the area and on stage where he played. Now, listen to this one. Also working with students is instructor Dylan Carlson, who recently competed in the widely known American Idol national competition. Dylan is using his performance experiences to coach vocal students participating in the opening and closing numbers. How cool is that? Area favorite Adam Owens will be the stage manager for the event, and coordinating the event this year is Infinity program coordinator Kate Rinko, who's been here. Kate says this event is so important because it incorporates every aspect of the arts disciplines we offer and involves so many students who work with a variety of our wonderful instructors. Okay, so tickets are $10 or $7 pre-sale. Kids under 18 are free, and you can go get your tickets at Infinity Center at 301 East 2nd Street, Suite 101. That's right in Jamestown, or go online, infinityperformingarts.org/shop. Okay, in addition to the show, they're also having some gift baskets with prizes of $150 cash, $300 in gift certificates to area restaurants, or a $300 value grab bag basket. Tickets are only $5, and you can buy those online as well. So that's coming up next week. All right, let's see. They're also still looking for folks to play the 16th annual local music showcase at Infinity, and that's going to be held September 7th. So if you are a musician, or you play in a group or a duo or a trio or whatever, give them a holler. Give them a call at 664-0991 and register. Will and I will be there again. Okay, this is a updated new thing. It happens every year, it seems, but I thought I'd make mention of it. The Chautauqua Area Habitat for Humanity. My buddy Mike Ricketts has been involved with this for quite a few years. They finally got a deal, and it's done, and the board of Habitat for Humanity has selected the future homeowners for their next house at 127 Union Street in Westfield. They invite you all to join them today at 127 Union Street to begin the process of taking a house that is in need of renovation and converting it to a beautiful family home, full of love and ready to make memories. Martin and Evelyn Ross, along with their 3 children, are excited to have the opportunity of owning their own home. How cool. But before that can happen, we all have, or they have, some work to do. So please come on down Saturday morning, that's today, and pitch in. And they do this every Saturday until the house is done. They promise you'll have a great time and you'll feel better because you have gotten an opportunity to give a little back to your community. For more information, give them a call at 338-8864. Again, 338-8864. And you might say, well, I don't have a lot of building skills. They need people to do all kinds of things, maybe sweeping or picking up or pulling down or demo day or whatever. So, and if, of course, if you had some really cool skills, they sure could use you. So give them a call and give them a hand. It's a lot of fun. All right, we're going to go now, still in Westfield. And the folks at the Grape Discovery Center have a bunch of things going on, so we're going to be popping in and out of that location here throughout the announcements. But the 5th of June, from 6 to 9 p.m., excuse me, Sip and Paint with Color Me Tipsy Studio. It's one of the favorite things they do every year, and they're joining forces with the Grape Discovery Center to provide you an opportunity to paint something called Purple Haze. It's led by artist Talina Hahir of Color Me Tipsy Studio. Ticket price includes everything you need to create a fun 16 by 20 canvas painting, as well as a complimentary glass of wine or non-alcoholic beverage, and even some light snacks. If you're interested, give them a call at 326-2003. And let's see here. Again, that's going to be held on June 5th, and it's at noon. No, that's when the tickets are, I'm sorry, that's when the ticket sales are done. It's going to be held from 6 to 9. I have to look at these things carefully. Okay, so anyways, that's a fun thing going on at the Grape Discovery Center. Of course, the proceeds go to help support the Grape Discovery Center and all the good work they do there for our industry of grapes. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Hope and Healing Conference of Western New York is going to be held June 5 and 6 at the Williams Center in SUNY Fredonia. Registration is 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. both days. Registration is only $40, includes the conference fees and lunch. It's sponsored by Kasich. I know it's a little hard to read, but you can stop your TV or do a close-up or whatever. First day is Davina Moss King with the topic, The New Millennium, Providing Hope and Healing While Simultaneously Treating Substance Abuse Disorder and Mental Health. And day 2 is Emma Fabian, Nothing About Us Without Us, the crucial role of persons with lived experience in shaping programs and communities that serve them. All right, so if you're interested, again, that's going to be June 5 and 6 up there at Fredonia SUNY. And you always give them a call at Kasich. Okay, June 7th, a lot of things coming up this week. Chamber of Commerce of the county is holding a get-together with the county executive, George Burrell, and that's going to be at Chautauqua Suites just down the road on June 7th at 8:30 a.m. So you get to eat breakfast, meet George, have a chat with him and see what's going on in the county. Tickets are $18 for chamber members, $21 for non-members. If you're interested, give them a call at 366-6200 or 484-1101. And that's Breakfast with George. Moving right along. Okay, this is coming up, and I said I was going to give this a little more attention this week, so we're going to do that. Lincoln Festival, Remembering Lincoln. All right. This is going to be going on all next weekend in Westfield. Westfield is going to be bursting at the seams Friday, June 7. First Friday. The streets are full of vendors, music, all kinds of things. That day, they're going to be revealing all the wine bottles. And if you remember, Sue Poster was on the show a few weeks ago. And I think there's 110 of these wooden bottles, and people are decorating them. Yes, Chautauqua Sunrise will have a bottle there over in the park, so you can check it out. Abraham Lincoln and Mary Todd will be walking the streets. You're going to get a photo with Abraham Lincoln, visit shops, restaurants, pubs, street vendors. A couple of new venues have just opened up there, so you can check them out. There's going to be displays at the Patterson Library about Lincoln. Let's see. over at Clarkle's and over at the Lakeshore Center for the Arts, they're going to have displays. And then there's going to be the McClurg Street Band performs in the gazebo, and that's from the school. All right, next day, Farmers and Artisans Market. That's basically from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. The McClurg Mansion Museum there is going to have Lincoln Room open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. There's going to be a flag raising because the 9th Cavalry will be in town. They're going to be in encampment there on the grounds. Drills and demos from 10 a.m. at 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. Lincoln and Grace meet at the Lincoln Bedell Park at 11:15. Gosh, horse-drawn carriage rides. Lunch for reenactors at St. Peter's, and the public's invited, only $5. Choral concert of Civil War music at the gazebo at 1:30. Presentation of letters at St. Peter's Church there at 76 Infantry at 2 p.m. The Best Beard Contest. Well, everybody knows that Kent Napa Burger's going to win that one. Drills and demos, again at 3 p.m. with the Cavalry. Lincoln visits the Great Discovery Center at 4. Lincoln gives a speech at the McClurg Porch at 5:15. The annual McClurg Gala, appetizers and drinks, $50 from 6 to 8. It's their major fundraiser. It keeps things going there. Will and I will be playing there from 6 to 8. It's a great, great, fun night. Candlelight tours at 8 p.m. and then a movie at the Lakeshore Center for the Arts at 8:30 called Lincoln. Whew. Then Sunday, of course, you got a church service at St. Pete's at 10 a.m. That's a Civil War type service. Brunch at St. Pete's to follow. Let's see. So just all kinds of things. So check it out. Why? You can spend all day there, all weekend. All right, and then right along with that, I said I was going to mention there's more going on that day. There's a Chautauqua County Historical Society is going to present an author on the 8th, and that's going to be, hang on, I'll find it here. Rick Barham, he's the author, and he's got his book, The 72nd New York Infantry in the Civil War, A History and Roster, focuses on the men who fought and died in the 72nd New York Volunteer Infantry during the Civil War. And he's going to be doing a presentation, and this is going to be held, in addition to all the other things I talked about, at Saturday, June 8th, 2 p.m. at St. Peter's Episcopal Church, and it's free and open to the public. So you can check that out. That's slide 19. All right, let's see. And I already mentioned the annual fundraiser, and again, that's going to be at the McClurg Mansion. I call it the Mansion, they call it the McClurg Museum, and that's going to be right in Westfield Moore Park. And that's going on. For more information for that, you can give them a call, 326-2977. Again, 326-2977, and that's for their gala event for the year. All right, this is a brand new one. This came, again, I mentioned the Great Discovery Center's got a few things going on. Check this one out. This is the next slide, number 20. Kitties in the Vineyard. When I saw this at first, I thought, what? This is going to be fun. Kitties in the Vineyard, a partnered event with the Westfield Stray Cat Rescue. Meow. There we go. Saturday, June 8th, noon to 3 p.m. So you can just go right down the road, and then you go over to the McClurg Museum area and go meet Lincoln, and you go Kitties in the Vineyard. Join us at the Great Discovery Center to support a local not-for-profit, the Westfield Stray Cat Rescue. Meet cats and kittens in need of their forever homes. I'll say forever, as a cute name. Donations of cat food, cat litter, treats, and toys will be graciously accepted. A local representative from the Girl Scouts of Western New York will be on site to offer a kitty-themed activity and craft as well as giveaways. Enjoy Concord Grape Punch and cookies during the event. Again, that's next Saturday, noon to 3. Kitties in the Vineyard. Woo! All right. Now, I got another one here. This is announcing a grand opening, I guess it is. This is slide 21. The Chautauqua Center, TCC, will open its doors to its primary care, behavioral health, and substance abuse patients, to their patients, at its new location located at 107 Institute Street in Jamestown. The new building is near the intersection of Harrison and Institute Streets in downtown Jamestown. They also have dental services that will remain at its other location at 110 East 4th Street until early fall when the final phase of construction is complete. Justin, you've gone to the dental program and you're pretty happy with them, right?
Yes,
All right, so we have a witness to that. This summer, the Chautauqua Center will announce details for community open house and grand opening celebrations that will take place this fall. So there's a lot of things going on. So if you haven't been down there, you can check it out. They wanted you to know that the Chautauqua Center is always accepting. They call it the TCC. That's why I keep stopping, because it looks like I'm saying something else. TCC is always accepting new patients and offers same-day appointments. The center is open Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Friday, 8 to 5. For more information, go to their website, chautauquacenter.org, or give a call at 484-4334. They also have folks there, bilingual, that can help you out. Now, we're going to go to the Sports Hall of Fame down in Jamestown. We're bouncing all over the place. And this is Sunday the 9th. So that's what I said. Next weekend is going to be just jam-packed full of stuff. Listen to this one. This is from my buddy Randy Anderson. It says the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame will hold a gathering for all persons interested in the history of the Jamestown Speedway on Sunday, June 9th. The reunion will be held at the Gary Rodeo Conference Center at 2 p.m. The Jamestown Speedway was built by Mike Palermo on his property on Route 380 north of Kimbleston in 1935. Palermo operated the half-mile track from 1935 to 39 and leased it in 1940, and so on. So they're going to have all kinds of folks there, and if you're interested in going or want more information, give Randy a call at 640-6219. Okay, we've been talking about this one a little bit. Here we go. Hot Productions. My good friends Bob Terry, Adam Owens, and Adam Hughes have put together a production called, wait a minute, I'll find it, Dinner at Chautauqua. Okay, it's 3 one-act plays, but it's at the same table. And this is going to be held at the Labyrinth Press at 12 East 4th Street in Jamestown, small stage. So seating is limited, but if you want to go, it's really a lot of fun. It's 708-2471, 078-2471 for reservations. Tickets are $20, and some refreshments are included. All right, I know these two of these guys well, and I am sure it's going to be a lot of fun. And as it says, local actors and plays by local playwrights in a great restaurant in downtown Jamestown starts early. You'll be home before 9 o'clock. It's a school night after all. What a treat. So call for reservations down there. And that's Dinner at Chautauqua. Okay, near and dear to my heart, Westfield Mayville Rotary Club presents an evening of Scolarity. Chips, putts, and pints. It's going to be a fun night. This is slide 22, Jeff. Enjoy a fun-filled evening of golf contests, chipping and putting, a barbecue buffet, and craft beer. You'll try to outdo your friends, competing for bragging rights and cash prizes. My brother and I have already done the smack talk. He wants to know if I've been practicing. I said, I don't even own a golf club. How can I practice? I'll still beat him. Points awarded in a similar format as drive, chip, and putt contest. Highest 3 scorers win. There's $100 for first prize, $75 for second, and third gets $50. And there's a chip off, and there's going to be men and women's divisions and so forth. You got to be 21 to participate. Entry fees are only $35 per person, and if you're a couple, $60. So my brother and I are going as a couple of brothers. It's limited to the first 80 participants, so you better sign up because I understand the registration is heating up. Proceeds benefit the Rotary's service projects. There's all kinds of groups and organizations that benefit in our area from Rotary, and that goes throughout our county. There's other clubs. I think there's 5 clubs now still in 2 in Jamestown, 1 in Faulkner, 1 in Dunkirk, Fredonia, and us. So that's 5 clubs doing great work throughout Chautauqua County. This is going to be held June 14th from 6:30 to 9 p.m. It's going to be at the Pinehurst Golf Club in Westfield, New York. And if you want more information, give them a call at 969-0143. And I'm proud to say Chautauqua Sunrise is going to be one of the sponsors of one of the holes. Okay, we've got some more things here real quick. Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame is having their golf tournament next 2 Saturdays from now, June 15th. And if you want to get involved with that, give them a call at 499-9601. Let's see here. What else we got going on? Wine With Us Wednesdays, Grape Discovery Center wants to remind you that every Wednesday you can go down there and enjoy a glass of wine and sit in the vineyards or in their beautiful building there. And that's held from 5 to 8. And sometimes they have music, sometimes they just have light music being played throughout the building, but just real pretty location to spend the evening together. Okay, just mark your calendar. My friends at the Dunkirk Fredonia Rotary on Sunday, July 7th, they're having their annual fly-in breakfast, and we'll talk more about that. Everybody knows about that particular thing up there, but it's going to be July 7th. Okay, I had to put this one on because Emerald said I had to, so let's go to 25, Jeff. Curse of the Comet. All right, the Ripley Library Players present Curse of the Comet, July 11th, 6 p.m. at the Pine Junction Restaurant in Sherman, New York. Tickets are $40, reservations only. Includes full meal, chicken, fish, or steak, and it has a cash bar. It benefits the Ripley Library Building Fund. If you're interested, give them a call at 736-3913. And if you look carefully, on the right side in the green costume is our very own Emerald Weish. And you are a flirtatious what? Scientist. That should be a lot of fun. All right, I've run out of things to talk about. That's enough for now. We're going to take a public service announcement, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
My new mom and I have a lot in common.
The great outside.
We both love the outdoors.
So shiny.
That's not a flower. We both love geology.
Oh, look. An igneous one.
That's not a rock. And she knows a lot about wildlife.
A labradoodle.
That's not a dog. Hanging out has been kind of fun.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Gosh, that little public service announcement reminded me of a story. When I was a Boy Scout, we were up camping in Camp Chautauqua, and I remember walking down into our campsite, and this is when you spent the whole week there camping, and I heard this one kid go, "Here, kitty, 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 kitty." And then all of a sudden I hear everything it's like his tent just blows up. Everybody's running out of the tent and yelling, "Skunk!" City boy didn't know what a skunk was. Oh my God. Things sprayed everybody and everything in that area. Here, kitty, kitty. Too funny. Okay, well, today we're going to do a show very differently. I am going to be my own guest. My guest that we scheduled, unfortunately, had a conflict and couldn't make it today. So, nonetheless, I feel amply prepared to talk about today's topic. And we're going to start out, and if you ever watch the show Mysteries at the Museum, they always describe an object, okay? So I'm going to describe an object for you that's going to be sort of the centerpiece of my discussion with you today. So to begin with, I'm not going to show it to you. I'm just going to describe it, and then I'll show it to you. Okay, so from Mysteries at the Studio, our first object today is approximately 8 inches long. It's about 3 inches high. It has, it's made out of wood. It has round things, 4 of them, attached to the sides of it. It's painted white and it has a variety of other colors, and it has the number 25 on top. It all has to do with an event that took place in 1933 in Dayton, Ohio. And it has something to do with this. It has something to do with the All-American Soapbox Derby that took place for the very first time. So let's do a close-up of what I was talking about. In fact, I'll just put it right here. I think you can do a close-up right there. Okay, so this is a scale model replica of a little car that raced in 1933 at Dayton, Ohio. It was sponsored by the Buffalo Courier Express, and I said it had the number 25 on there, and you can see the decal 25. That was the number of the car, and you can see some odd-looking wheels. And on there, I don't know, can you do a real sharp close-up right here on that, right in there? Okay, and on there says, ooh, we gotta go blurry there, don't we? It says Jack Hamels Buffalo. Now, if you have been, there we go, thank you. All right, if you've been an avid watcher of Chautauqua sunrise, and saw the 100th show that we had here, Jack Hamels, my dad, was here talking about his experiences. Well, we were hopefully going to do a show on the Jamestown Soapbox Derby, but as I said, my guest couldn't make it today, so I decided to talk about this little car. So what's the deal with this little car? So this all goes back. I'm going to give you a couple different views of this. There's the front of it, okay? So here's the deal. You got the setting behind the story of this is 1932 in Dayton, Ohio. A guy named Myron Scott. He's working for Chevrolet, and he's a newsman, I believe, as well. I think he was like a promoter, and he is walking around, and he sees these kids doing some weird stuff on a hill, and they've got like these wheels and pieces of wood, and they're building these contraptions, and they're going down the hill. They're having some fun. And I guess they're actually kind of like competing with each other. And there was no formal anything about it. It was just a bunch of kids having a bunch of fun. And this gave him the idea of having some type of competition. And from what I've been told and what my dad told me back in the 30s, things were really tough. And this was still the end of the Depression years, and money was really tight. So kids were making do with just about anything. The technology that we have today, the toys we have today, they were like space age things to them. And so they used things that they could easily get in the neighborhood, junk pile, go down to the neighbors, rifle through dad's garage or whatever. And so these kids were doing just that. So anyways, Myron Scott, he puts together this idea of having a race. And I guess they put together a little race locally, and then this got the idea of doing like a national kind of a thing. So in 1933, they have the first All-American Soapbox Derby. And if I remember right, I think it's about 11 to 13 different newspapers sponsored the races in their hometowns. Buffalo, New York was one. You had Cleveland and I think Atlanta. They were all over the place, and they would have these posters and pictures, and they would encourage kids to build soapbox derby cars. And there was, as you can see, doesn't look anything like you see today on TV with the soapbox derbies. Now they're streamlined and so forth. And my dad told me that his car was built from like baby buggy carts, and he told me this part the front was made from something that at the local pharmacy he had like a display, and he had orange crate wood, and I still don't know what this thing was. He couldn't remember what it was, but it looked like maybe the cap from a car as like some kind of a design. And so he evidently got wind of this this competition because he was a paper boy, and he would hawk papers down in Buffalo and so on. So he and his brother, my Uncle Ed, they got together and they started designing this car. And so the story goes is they got the materials together, built this car, and they had really not much to go on as far as design. And in a minute we'll show some pictures, but not yet. But it could be anything. I mean, you could take a bathtub, put wheels on it, and that would be your car. I mean, there was no regulations. There were no sizes or whatever, as far as I know. And so they had the race in Buffalo in 1933. And from what I understand, it was over towards the Maston Armory. There was a big hill down there. And my dad actually took me there, and we walked around and saw where he raced. And 10,000 people, I think it was, showed up for that. And again, in those days, there was very little entertainment of this type of thing. You know, they had movies and things like that, but for kids, this would have been a big deal. And the winners of each of the cities, like from Buffalo, then would go on to a national competition. Now, here in Jamestown every year, they have their race lately at the John Sinatra Memorial Track, right down by the Jammer Stadium, JCC there on Faulkner Street. And so Jamestown now has their race, and the winner of that race will go now to nationals. Well, remember I said Dayton, Ohio. Dayton, Ohio was where they had the first All-American race. So Dad races at Buffalo, and they have a series of heats, and he wins. He wins the first Buffalo, New York Soapbox Derby in 1933, and has the right to go to Dayton, Ohio. And so now imagine the security that we have today and all the paperwork and stuff. So the newspaper sends a reporter to pick up my dad and my uncle, who was older, as like a chaperone, to take my dad by a car to Dayton, Ohio. Total stranger takes a young boy about 11 years old and his brother to Dayton, Ohio. You just wouldn't do that today. You just wouldn't. And they have his car shipped somehow, I guess, by train and so on. Well, anyways, so Dad raced. So, but I got a couple of pictures. So if you could bring up the black and whites and maybe the parade pictures. There we go. Oh, okay. So there's my dad. Now, I'll tell you more about this car here in a little bit. But you see that car right now? Okay. Now let's see if you can flash. I don't know if you can do this. Can you flash over to the car I'm holding? So there's that picture, and now this car here. So I'm going to hold it just like this. All right, now for those of you who are listening, I'm holding up a model of my father's car. Now this model was built by a gentleman who is known very much at Soapbox Derby country over in Akron as Ron Reed. He has carved every single car that's won at the Soapbox Derby. Now, over the years, that's a lot of cars. He's got scale models of this. Well, he met my dad, and my dad did not win at Dayton, but was a competitor there, as I mentioned, and he carved this car. Now, as you can see the car there in the picture, and here's the car I'm holding now. He made a replica of my dad. And sadly, my dad passed away before he ever got to see this car that Ron made for him, but he based it on that particular picture. So that was a really cool picture. So let's bring up another picture you have there. Okay, so this is a very, very interesting picture for me. When my mom passed away in 2012, my dad, of course, really was left kind of floating, like didn't have an anchor. So I kind of stepped in and said, Dad, you know, let's see what's going on with the Soapbox Derby, because he had this rich history with it of racing. And so I found newsreels, pictures, and out on YouTube, and then we were provided this picture here. Now, this picture is taking place in the streets of Dayton, Ohio. And you can even see on the right, for those are watching, for those who are listening, you can see the trolley tracks, and those are long gone, but this would have been 1933. Look at the old car there. Now, the interesting thing about this picture is when I first saw it, I didn't realize what I was looking at. Then when I looked at it closer, the gentleman that's right smack dab in the middle, there's the close-up, gentleman there with white pants and then looks like a polo shirt, dark hair, kind of a tan-looking guy. Right there at the front of the parade is my godfather, my dad's brother, Edmund. He is pulling my dad, and if you look carefully at the car, you can actually see the word, or the letters, ESS for the Courier Express. So that's Dad's car and his little wheels there behind him. And because these were powered, they had to be pulled through the parade. And there was, I think somebody said, if I remember right, 40,000 people at that contest, at that race. And they raced a quarter-mile track, I believe, there in Dayton. So that's my Uncle Ed pulling my dad during the parade. And they were accorded honors, and they were like coming from all over the country, and it was quite an event. Growing up as a kid, my dad would always pull out various little mementos from the race. And I remember very clearly when my brother and I were little, we would put these on because he would say, oh, this is what I wore during the Soapbox Derby. So again, when you think about racing today, biking, You saw us, the three amigos, we all have our riding helmets on. You know, it's dangerous to be out there. You don't have much protection when you're on a bike or whatever. Well, in these little cars built out of orange crates and cardboard and who knows what all, these things could fall apart. So evidently they thought it was important to provide them helmets. All right, I'm going to show you. This is not the one he had at Dayton, but this is one he had in Buffalo, from what I understand. So this was sponsored by Chevrolet, okay? And for those of you that are listening, this basically looks like a thin piece of material that would be like a little, I don't know, it looks like an aviation hat, doesn't it? Like you would, like a World War I aviator thing, but it's very thin, and these guys would wear these, I guess for protection, I have no idea. But Dad would laugh about this because that was part of their safety program. But anyways, they wore that. So Dad wore that in the 30s. Okay, so going back to the storyline. So Dad goes to Dayton, and from the records I could read, he was doing really well, He won the first 2 or 3 races, and it's all elimination. So I think he was down to the semifinals. And they were running 4 cars across, and nowadays they only do 2 or 3, depending on the track. And so as the story goes, he's racing down the hill, and either he had equipment failure or somebody bumped him. Yep, there they are, and that's one of the heats he was in. And look at the wheels on all those. Well, anyways, he's the car to the right, and there again you can see the replica, perfect replica. Number 25, and somehow he veers off and crashes into the crowd, and he falls out of his car somehow because he gets all bruised up. And World War I flying ace, he comes running over and he picks Dad up, and he's interviewed by one of the news reporters, and they said, "Are you okay?" And Dad says, "Yeah, I'm okay, just a little banged up." But then they said, "Well, are you going to race again?" He says, "Nah, my car got blasted." And so I guess it fell apart and he was done. But that was kind of a funny story. But as you can see in those pictures there, that they had wheels that were like 3 feet high and little ones. And so one looks like something like it could have been an oil can or oil drum of some sort. But nowadays, to be part of the Soapbox Derby, you can only race a sanctioned car. It's a kit that you buy, a few $100s, and they can do a little bit of shaping, and they set up the wheels in a certain way. So the point here I'm making is the beauty of all of this was that they were using their STEM skills, the science, technology, the mathematics, and all that sort of thing, all right? And they were what's the other one? Engineering? Okay. See, I skipped the E because I couldn't remember electronics, engineering. But it was engineering at an early age. And so they are using their STEM skills, and they were applying what they knew, and they were experimenting. And so as you saw in those pictures, they were trying every type of material they could use and what would be better than the other. And I said to Dad, well, you know, how was it that yours was faster than the others? And he really didn't know. I think it had to do with just the fact that he uses lightweight material, and he probably had a good steering mechanism. And the steering mechanism, these things, some of them were just pull strings and things like that. So anyways, that was Dayton, Ohio, and Dad was one of the finalists and so on. So time went by, and as I mentioned, my mom passed away. Dad was kind of looking to do something in life, and he's like in his late 80s, and I said, you know, let me contact the Soapbox Derby. To myself, I said this, and I said, you ever interested to have somebody from the Soapbox Derby or the first year come by and talk with you? Well, the next thing I know, Dad is invited to the Soapbox Derby, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a second. I understand we have one more picture, so let's have a look at that, Jeff. Oh, there's an action shot. All right. Now, a lot of people don't realize how this works, but the whole thing is on a hill, and they have these ways of holding the cars back to the last second, and then everything flips down, like it's like a lever, and all the cars are released at the same time. And again, if you look at the cars, I mean, look at the one to the left there. It looks like about another 2 feet longer than my dad's car. The one next to that looks like a, well, I don't know what it looks like. It looks like a go-kart or something, but look at the size of the wheels, and there's no body to it whatsoever, none whatsoever. The guy has no protection. If he crashes anything, he's going to go right into the wheels are going to go right into him. The guy next to my dad, I don't know what that looks like. It looks like a box. So, and Dad was leaning forward. He told me he leaned forward, he got a little extra oomph to it. But as you can see, that was pretty basic. Okay, excuse me. So going back to the story now. So Dad races at Dayton, comes home, and then he decides that 1934 comes along, 1935, and so forth. So he and his brother, they got the fever now, and they're going to compete some more. So in my family archives, okay, I have some things here that are kind of fun. So this is 1936 from, if you want to hit on this, and we're talking about STEM. So let me see if I get this right now. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Okay, so this is my dad's car. Now it's a whole lot different. And they were working on it. There's measurements, and there's angles, and probably proportions and so forth that they were looking at, and obviously a lot more streamlined than his first car. But I could see already the wheels were turning, and so this is the actual diagram that they used in 36 for that year. So they, Dad competed again, and I think he did all right in Buffalo, but never again went back to Dayton, because there's a good reason, because they moved it. Dayton was a one-year race. And they then moved everything to Akron the following year in 34. Here's a couple more pictures, and I get a kick out of this because these were diagrams of what Dad was looking at to make, and then you can see the side profiles. And the funny thing is, you can see right here that this was at the hotel that they stayed in, so they immediately started redesigning the car for the following year. And it's the, what's it called? The Hotel Van Cleve. And so their minds were already working and so on. And then just on the other side, here's the actual, he still had it after all these years, the original decal for his car. To say my dad was a hoarder might be an understatement, but luckily he kept a lot of things for us to enjoy later on and so forth. So then I contacted the Soapbox Derby and said, you know, Dad had been there and so forth. Well, they invited Dad to come back, and he was like a movie star. They interviewed him, and they had a special luncheon, and he got to be there. So I think we have a couple more pictures, so I'll talk a little bit to those pictures if you want to pop them up. So there's my dad, 90 years old. And they said to him, would you like to race in what they called oil can race? And what it basically is, they're adult-sized cars. And he says, sure. And they asked me if I wanted to race. I go, what are you, nuts? This is a quarter-mile track, and it's like a, I don't know, 30-degree angle. I mean, this is like, they go really fast. I forgot, like 23 miles an hour in this little wooden car. I had no idea. So he jumps right in there. So there he's got his safety helmet on, and he's giving me the thumbs up. And Dad was always famous for his Hawaiian shirts. So here we are now, from an 11-year-old kid to a 90-year-old kid ready to race. And I think we got another picture of Dad in the car, maybe. And so, yeah, now these are adult-sized cars. And believe it or not, he raced when he was 90, and he raced when he was 91, and he won both those races. So my dad can now say he won twice at the All-American Soapbox Derby for his age group. And he had such a good time. And the AP Press was interviewing him. He was on TV. And he was a grand marshal, and he was having a great time waving to everybody. But we tried to go back a third year to Akron, and his health was just not enough. It was really, really difficult for him. But, you know, for those of you who are watching right now, and if you're shy, please call in if you had any experiences with the Soapbox Derby or anything you want to talk about it. coming up, because I've run into people that raced in the 50s and the 60s, and they say, oh, wow. Oh, there he is again. Look at him, Mr. Smiles. He's in his big blue car. And it was just spectacular to watch this 90-year-old man just having a great time. And of course, they were cheering him on and so forth. And there was quite a few thousand people there. But it's a good childhood memory, and it's part of Americana. I mean, it's out there, and we forget some of these things that have taken place in our country and make up our fabric, and it's really cool. As far as, there was a question about the Scouts. The Scouts do the Pinewood Derby, and that's the miniature cars. So it could have been a spin-off, I'm not sure. But as I was saying a minute ago, if anybody is watching right now or listening, give us call us and share your story. I'd love to hear about it. So Dad had a lot of pictures in his scrapbooks and things like that. But the thing that I found interesting over the years, that this was sort of, what do you call it, a place to be if you were a movie star or someone famous. Shirley Temple was there. Abbott and Costello, Frank Sinatra, Ronald Reagan, all these guys would show up the race, and cheer on their racers from their state perhaps and so on. And they would take their pictures with the racers and all that sort of thing, so that was pretty cool. I did have a letter here that I thought was kind of interesting that I'd like to read to you, and that's part of Dad's archives. And as far as I know, not many people have ever had one of these that has to do with the Soapbox Derby. But Dad got this, and Dad's real name was John, but they called him Jack. And this is from Myron Scott. He's the one that actually started the whole thing back in 1932, and then started up the actual All-American. So there it is, from 1935. So this is the original documentation. So let's have a little read. This is kind of fun to listen to. So it says, Mr. Jack Hamels, American Soapbox Derby champion, Buffalo, New York. I mean, think about your, like 11, 12 years old, you get this letter, I'm the champion of Buffalo. And my dad used to do one of these numbers, he'd put his hands together and wave over his head, and we'd get a chuckle out of that. It says here, now this is for a couple years later, after the 33. Plans for the 1935 All-American Soapbox Derby are rapidly taking form. This year, over 100 cities will send their champions to the Derby City, where on August 11th, these boys in their home-built cars will race for national prizes in the honor of being the national soapbox champion. Now, in those days, they got watches at the local level, and then there was a big trophy you could get at the national level. And did you notice it said boys? Girls are very much involved now. And it says home-built cars. Not anymore. And there are actually different classifications of cars now. They've got the regular cars, and they got modified. I'm making this up now. I call them modified, and then they got these super modified that look like bullets. And these things really travel. So lots of competition, lots of fun for everybody, all ages. So then he says, remember the fun and excitement at Dayton, Ohio last year? This year, the fun will again be at its peak. For there are thousands of boys building soapbox cars to enter in sectional races, hoping to represent their city in the final contest. You were a champion last year, and it is the desire of all American Soapbox Derby officials to have you on the Board of Champions, which will control certain activities of this year's race. We would like to use your name and photograph in the 1935 Soapbox publicity campaign, and we have enclosed a release for you and your parents to sign, which pertains to the same. Kindly have your parents or guardian read this letter and also the one enclosed herein, and mail it immediately to the All-American Soapbox Derby headquarters. You and your parents must sign the release before it is mailed. May you be another champion in 1935. Sincerely, Myron Scott, Soapbox Derby. And then it says, the greatest amateur racing event in the world. And it still is. And they still are doing lots of fun things out there. And like I said, if you go to the Jamestown race, and that's going to be held on, I have it written down here, June 8th over in Faulkner, around the edge of Jamestown. You can see what it's all about. And I've seen John Williams, who is the director of the program there, and I've seen John at the race at Akron. Now, here's another little funny story. So there's my dad, 90, 91 years old, depending on what year it was that he was there. And these kids were coming up to him because they heard that he was there, and people were pointing him out. And I had got him a little pin that said, Jack Hamels, All-American champion from Buffalo, New York, 1933. And these kids would come up and they said, did you race at Akron? And Dad looked at him seriously. He says, no. And there'd be this silence. And they said, you raced at Dayton? I mean, that was like sacred ground. And Dad said, yep, I was one of them. And at that point, there were only 2 surviving racers. There was another man from California and my dad. And I'm not sure if the other gentleman is still with us. But that was a lot of fun for Dad. And the kids really enjoyed talking with him. And they'd ask him what kind of material he used for his car. And we would go and we'd look at their cars and all that sort of thing. And Dad was really interested. Dad was always a car fanatic, and he worked for General Motors, as it turns out, the sponsor of his first, I was just talking about Chevrolet being a sponsor, so he worked for Chevy for 30 years in General Motors, and so that was kind of a cool connection. So anyways, so the kids would talk with them about materials, and they thought that was pretty cool. Well, Dad went back 2 years, as I said. He raced 2 years, and he won both races, and that was always pretty cool. Here's a picture. I was talking about the celebrities all showing up, and so I had this one. Let's see if this comes out or not. And this was a young lady in 1947. I suspect most of you all heard of her. And there I mentioned Shirley Temple, she's a famous child actress, and so this was very, very typical that they would have these actors and famous folks showing up, and she was there in Akron. And as you can see, it was the newspaper was doing a lot of the sponsorship in those days. Okay, so what else do I want to tell you about all this? So then out of the clear blue, I think my dad was 93. His racing days were over, and he got this thing. Actually, I got this thing in the mail. And he didn't know I had gotten it, so I saved it for him till Christmas time. And so if you want to hit on that, this was, oh boy, it's gonna hurt. There we go. It's really shiny. This is a plaque, and I'll tell you about this here in a second, that Dad received from the Soapbox Derby organization, commemorating his time with them and his racing. So this is on a beautiful, beautiful plaque, and it has this picture as an adult, and then there's 3 pictures down below. And I think I still have time. I'll try to get through this real quick to tell you what it says. In 1934, let's see, actually it's 1933, the first All-American Soapbox Derby World Championship was held in Dayton, Ohio, and John Hamels had the privilege of being a participant. Hamels lived in Buffalo, New York, where he heard that there was going to be a soapbox derby race in his hometown. This unique event piqued his interest so much that, with the assistance of his older brother Eddie, they built his first derby car. The Buffalo Courier Express sponsored the local event that will qualify racers to compete in the World Championship race. And it goes on and on, talking about Dad's time at the race, and that he had gone back as honorary Grand Marshal and kicked off the first Energy All-American Soapbox Derby, which somebody from Jamestown, there's going to be a couple kids from Jamestown that are going to be representing us in Akron this summer. So that's going to be really cool for them. Well, anyways, so I'm proud to share this history of the Soapbox Derby. It's too bad we couldn't have folks here to talk about it. But if you got the time, check it out next weekend over at Sinatra Track in Jamestown, near JCC at the Jamestown Jammers Stadium. So I think we're just about out of time. So if you know anybody that's winning the Soapbox Derby, I'd love to hear from you, or you can call in next week or whatever. I'm Doc Hamels. I hope you enjoyed our little story, Mysteries at the Studio with my dad's car. There it is one more time. And have a great weekend. Enjoy the warm weather, and we're going to see you all right here on Saturday at 9 a.m. Take care now. Bye-bye.